It's time to get fired up, all you fight fans. Welcome to Rings and Cages AZ, where we bring you hot takes on all things fight in the Copper State. All the latest news and updates in this hotbed of combat sports that we call Arizona. Let's go. And now, your host and on-fire fight sports superfan, Chuy.
What up, Fight Fam? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Rings and Cages AZ. We're doing something a little different for you this week. We have a special extended edition of Behind the Gloves. We're going to be joined by Phillip Vella, who is fresh off of his pro debut victory at Brawl in the Barrio. Very talented young fighter. We are super excited to have him here. Welcome to the show, Phillip. How are you doing today?
I'm feeling good. Happy to be here. I had a great performance. I felt great in the ring and looking forward to the next one.
Well, we're definitely happy to have you here today. For the listeners, can you go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're from and what got you into boxing?
Yeah, I'm Phillip Vella. I'm from Henderson, Nevada. I'm 20 years old, and I started boxing when I was 4 years old. Began boxing because my brother wanted to go to the gym when he was 8, my older brother, and when I would go there every day, I wasn't old enough to be able to train yet because you had to be 8. I would just sit there and watch every day. And one day the coach came up to me and was like, do you want to work out? And I said, yeah. And he said, all right, the deal is that you have to, be mature and act like the older kids. And so I started and I knew everything just from watching all the guys every day. I just picked up on it just from watching. I just kind of soaked everything up. And then I never stopped since then. I was in the gym every day since I was 4 years old.
Did you know right away that you wanted to box and you wanted to be a boxer?
Oh, yeah. Once I got into it, I loved it. I loved fighting, sparring. I mean, I was the youngest in the gym. So, I had to work with a lot of older guys a lot of times. Man, by the time I was 8 years old, when I finally could compete as an amateur, I was so far ahead of all the kids that were my age,
So what would you say was the biggest obstacle towards becoming a fighter?
You have to accept that you just have to live a different lifestyle than the rest of the kids when you're younger that are growing up and just they're out having fun, going to pool, bringing parties and stuff. And then as a fighter, you got to be in the gym and you got to be ready to train to have the energy to train. So you can't go to the pool all day and hang out during the summer with your friends. You got to box. It comes first after your tournament. Then you can go do that,
So then would you say that staying disciplined is probably the hardest part of being a boxer?
Yeah, I mean, now, obviously, that's just part of my life, but when you're a kid, it's hard to understand, sometimes you want to go have fun with your friends, but you have to understand that you're striving towards one goal and they have different obstacles going on in their life,
So at what point did you decide, okay, now I want to compete?
When I was 4, I had already wanted to, I was watching my brother fight and all the older kids, and that just made me so hungry to want to be like them and better. I wanted to fight so bad. I was so eager. So when I finally got the chance when I was 8 years old, I kind of just took off with it and never stopped.
You grew up in Henderson, right next to Vegas. What was it like coming up as a boxer there?
Oh, dude, it's awesome living here. It's Vegas, Henderson, Vegas, same thing. It's just a little bit 20-minute drive, but it's awesome. We get to see all the big fights that come into town. You get to see, back when Floyd Mayweather was fighting, he's on the side of MGM, when you're growing up, you want to be those guys so bad that is just so motivating to you that one day you could be that guy, and that's just ultimately what we're working for now.
Did you find yourself having to leave the Vegas and Henderson area a lot just to find fights?
Yes. Actually, as a kid, I had a lot of fights in California, just smokers and stuff, especially when I was real young. And then, obviously, national tournaments, we were fighting the Golden Gloves, all the national tournaments every year. But I definitely had to travel more. They have a lot more amateur fights out here now than they did when I was a kid. I had probably my first 2 fights here. And then I didn't fight again for a long time in Vegas.
That's surprising. I mean, I would have thought that, Vegas being the fight capital of the world, you wouldn't have to travel as much.
Yeah, you would think as an amateur, but also once you hit that open thing and you're number 1 in the nation and stuff, it's hard to get opponents at just regular shows because you have to be, they know you and a lot of people don't want to fight and stuff like that. But, I have over 150 amateur fights and I think I probably fought in Vegas 10 times.
So were there any milestones or particular accomplishments that you wanted to have under your belt before you could say to yourself, okay, now I'm ready to turn pro?
I think it was more of just trying to be a little older. A lot of people in my generation were turning pro when they're 16, 17, and they didn't get that experience in 3-minute rounds, So our thing was just, we're going to get as much experience as a youth and elite fighter in 3-minute rounds against the top guys in the nation, and then and ultimately, obviously, growing to my man strength a little bit more than just being a kid versus men. It's a big difference in that. Also, I was shooting for the Olympics. I fought in the Olympic trials. We kind of knew that it wasn't kind of a real political thing. They already had their guy handpicked. So we knew we were just fighting there for a resume thing, That's the top of the amateur game. So I made it that far, So that was just kind of our last milestone right there. And then it was time to turn the tables for me.
So we know that you are a decorated fighter as an amateur boxer. Can you list off your accomplishments for the listeners?
Yeah, I'm a 10-time national champion. I've won the Junior Golden Gloves 4 years in a row. When I was younger, I've run the Ringside World. I've run pretty much all the tournaments there is, as an amateur, and I've had a lot of fights. Fought a lot of great fighters that are now obviously turning professional as well. And I think this generation is the greatest generation coming into boxing.
Like the swagger. How would you compare the pressure of turning pro compared to what you face as an amateur, in the national championship fights, the tournament fights?
It's definitely a different feeling, you're not used to the no headgear, the 8-ounce gloves, that's a little different. But I think then all the nerves go away once you get in the ring, like leading up to it, you obviously want to get a knockout and stuff, but you have to know that's just going to come. You can't go looking for that. You can't go trying to knock someone out. You end up getting caught with being reckless, so you just kind of got to do your thing and get the victory overall, no matter whatever it takes, but and if that big shot comes, then that big shot comes. And it's just a discipline thing, when you have a lot of experience, you learn how to deal with the mental side of things. Being disciplined as a fighter is bigger than just eating right and training every day. It's being able to stick to the game plan and know what you have to do as a fighter to be able to excel in your game and not get caught in a fight that you don't want to fight.
So now that you've had some time to reflect on that win and how it went on your pro debut, how are you feeling about it?
Oh, I feel like it was a great performance. I felt really good, tough opponent. He was really game, respect to him for taking the fight and bringing his A game. And he was a very tough guy. I was hitting him with some real good shots and he was hanging in there, so hats off to him. I stuck to my game plan of just doing what I do, and I feel like obviously I can do some things better that after I watched the fight, I seen some things that I could have capitalized on a little more. Overall, we'll be back better 2-0. So for my next fight.
So I'm curious, what were some of the things your team talked about after that fight and what did they have to say?
They said the same thing, they felt that I performed great. They knew the guy was tough. Obviously we wanted a tougher opponent than a lot of people fight for their pro debut, because we wanted someone that's going to give us, we want the experience, we want to have to get the rounds in and not just go in there and beat somebody in 30 seconds. We want to have a durable opponent that's going to make us work for it and learn from it, and that's ultimately what I did. The pros is different than the amateurs. You have to learn how to sit on shots. You got to trust your defense and trust that you're able to make the right decision in those moments that is happening so fast.
Now, had you fought in Arizona before that night?
Only as an amateur. Obviously as a pro, that was my debut, but I fought in the Gene Lewis tournament a few times, and I've won that a couple times out there as an amateur.
So then this was the first time at a boxing event as opposed to a tournament, which, tournaments tend to be less spectator friendly compared to what we had at that event.
Yeah. I've never been to no professional fights out there in Arizona, but it was definitely a great experience. The crowd out there was electric, and I brought a lot of fans, friends, and family with me from Vegas, and we had a very good night.
So can Arizona boxing fans expect to see you coming to town again?
Oh, yeah. You guys will definitely see me again in the future. And Del Sol Promotions treated me very good for this fight. They put me on the card and got me a good fight to make my pro debut and showcase my skills. And you'll definitely see me on their cards again in the future.
Exactly what I wanted to hear. No, the fans are happy to hear that. How has your role changed in the gym since turning pro, or has it changed?
Since turning, I've always been the the most experienced one. We actually own our own boxing gym, and my father is my coach. So, in the gym, I take the role model lead. I got to be the role model for all the kids. I also coach all the kids. I'm actually an amateur coach. I coach all the kids. I train early in the day so that way I'm out the way. I can focus on the kids when they get to the gym and helping them and making sure that they trust what I'm saying as a fighter and a coach, because they obviously look up to me. So I know that's a lot of pressure to have, so many kids looking up to you and stuff like that. But it's really cool to me, they all treat me as one of their own, so being there with them every day is very important to me, and being able to help them excel in their game.
So you look at that as kind of a privilege then?
Yeah, for sure. Since I turned pro, all the kids are so excited. They're like, I can't wait for you to fight again and stuff. And that's just what's important to me, like before I would be at the amateur tournaments with them. So it's a little different, I'm there fighting, like even at the Olympic trials, they were there for the nationals, so they were still there by my side watching me fight. They've seen it for a couple of years now from the inside, so just seeing me take that next step, it's, it shows them that they can do it too.
Well, since we're talking about your next fight, do you have an idea of when you want to fight again?
Not necessarily. I know there was talks of possibly being on the Canelo undercard out here in Vegas. But I don't know. That was just that was in talks, but I'm not too sure. That's not a for sure thing, But if I don't get on that, I'll definitely fight probably in October. For sure. Probably my next fight.
So at this point, earlier in your career, do you find it more important to be active or to find a quality opponent?
Stay active. I want to build my record. I want to fight this year. I got a late start to it. So I'll probably have, two more fights, hopefully maybe 3 more this year. But I want to fight probably 5 to 6 times a year. I want to stay active right now early in my career. And with Gabriel and Delso Promotions, they're going to help me do that, and then we'll get on bigger cards too as we go on, when the opportunity comes.
So what's your advice to someone who's coming up as a boxer and maybe wants to make a career out of it?
Just, stay disciplined, stay in the gym, no matter what, even if you don't have fights coming up, stay in there, stay sharp on your tools. Trust your training, definitely. And, don't let the outside world dictate how you feel about yourself. There's going to be a lot of people that come along that don't really want to see you win and succeed. But, you just got to do what you do and prove them all wrong. So remember that people that's watching you not always going to want you winning.
Appreciate the advice. And here comes the rapid fire questions. First one, who's your favorite boxer?
I would say Vasily Lomachenko. I look up to his style probably the most. I've gotten a lot of compliments as an amateur saying that I replicate him pretty well. And, I like the way he fights, and there's not many like him at all.
What's your favorite fight of all time?
I'm going to say Floyd Mayweather versus Toro Gotti. I feel that was just above the radar performance, and Floyd did exactly what he said he was going to do, and he destroyed Toro Gotti because Toro Gotti's a rough fighter, but Floyd has the skills and speed and power to just throw you off. So that was definitely a performance of a lifetime right there. I believe, that was a crazy beating.
Good choice. If you could fight anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Here in my hometown. I want to fight here. I got a lot of crowd. I got a lot of people to be in the crowd, and a lot of friends and family that would definitely attend. So definitely here in Vegas.
If you could fight any boxer, living or dead, regardless of size, who would it be?
I think Antonio Margarito. I don't really like what he did. He's a dirty guy, and I would like to probably fight him if I could choose anybody.
That's fair. A fair point anyway.
Yeah, not in a disrespectful way, but that type of stuff ain't cool, dude. So, and I don't know. I felt like as if he wasn't, the greatest. So I feel like that cheating like that is foul. And coming from a boxer's perspective, this is, you don't want to hurt nobody. This is just a sport at the end of the day. We ain't here to kill each other. So, I mean, you get knocked out. That's what you go in there looking for anyways, but not to, we want them waking up, and want everybody going back home to their family safely.
And you also just want to be on an even playing field.
Right.
So is there anyone else that you want to thank?
Oh yeah, dude. I definitely want to thank my father, thank my family that's always been by my side. Always stuck with me in our plan to be where we're at now, and we're not even where we want to be. So I thank him for everything he's done for me, and always supporting me, even when I was having rough days. He's always picked me up and been there for me. So that's definitely what's brought me where I'm at, and he's a great coach, and our team is going to excel one way or the other. So I feel that our team undefeated, and my friends and family that's always supporting me, I feel like they're the ones that I should thank, because they've always been there, since day one, since my first amateur fight, So I definitely appreciate everybody's support. Thank you to you for having me on this and giving me the chance to let everybody get to know me. And I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. We were happy to have you on. Very impressive pro debut, looking very polished out there in the ring. So, very excited to have you on, and appreciate you coming on. Real quick, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at official Phillip. The O in official is a 0. You can follow me on TikTok at Phillip Vella. It's just my name, no spaces, nothing. Yeah, you guys definitely. Instagram is the thing that I post the most on, so that's where you'll catch me the most at.
Yeah, thanks again for coming on, and congratulations again on that win.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
So that was Phillip Vella, the Sin City Sicilian, joining us for that special edition of Behind the Gloves. Always appreciate the opportunity to talk with the fighters, get inside their head a little bit, pick their brains. Also excited at the prospect of seeing Phillip Vella on that Canelo card in September. And I think that's where we, as the Arizona boxing fan base, can come in and try to make a little bit of a difference there, right? He's got the talent. We saw that in the pro debut. He's got the pedigree with the national championships and the Golden Gloves. He's got the support within his hometown. There's no question about that. I think what we have the opportunity to do is show that he's building a national fan base, that he's building a fan base outside of his home city as well. So follow him on social media. Let's show these promoters that Arizona is now his second home base, his second fan base. Here's what's coming up, Desert Brawlers. This is your fight forecast. Saturday, August 17th, Old School Boxing presents Old School Showdown. This is an amateur boxing event sanctioned by USA Boxing. Currently, there are 25 fights scheduled for this card. As always, this fight card is subject to change. This will be at Sunny Slope High School in Phoenix, with tickets starting at just $20 at the door. Doors open at 1 p.m., fights start at 2 p.m. Saturday, August 17th, Ringside Unified Fighting presents RUF 59. This is a Pro-Am MMA event scheduled to have 14 fights total, 8 amateur, 6 professional, with 2 title fights capping off the night. First title fight will be in the co-main event, Mehrdad Janzemini versus Dahlen Wilson for the vacant welterweight RUF title. The 34-year-old Dahlen Wilson is 8-4, riding a 4-fight win streak, all 4 of those wins coming by decision. Wilson has a bit of a mauler style, presses you up against the cage, works in the clinch, loves to wear you down. He does have 2 wins by KO, so he does have some power in his hands, but he is mostly known for that grinded out style. 28-year-old Janzemini, on the other hand, is 14-3, riding a 3-fight win streak. All of his 14 wins have come by finish. He has 8 submission victories, 6 by KO or TKO. He's a sambo stylist, has some nasty leg locks. He's dangerous everywhere, can finish anywhere. So this fight's really a matter of whose style is going to win out. Will Janzemini be able to work his submissions, use his power, get the finish, or will Wilson be able to grind his way to victory and that vacant RUF title? Main event of the evening features Jaeleen Robledo challenging Zurina Turrey for Zurina's 145-pound women's title. Robledo at the moment is just 1-1, arguably should be 2-0, but that's a conversation for a different day. Just 20 years old, made her pro debut in January of this year. Very high level wrestling base. Heavy hands as well. Has been known to stand and trade shots, but she should have the advantage on the ground. Zurina Turrey, at 29 years old, is 4-0 as a pro, has a 1 to 2 inch height advantage, should have a reach advantage as well, although it's been difficult to find exact information on Jaeleen's reach. Now, Zurina does have a striking style somewhat reminiscent of Amanda Nunes in terms of the way she throws her straights, throws with power, but does tend to brawl. Now, that may work to diminish her reach advantage, but I do expect her to have a bit of a power advantage as well in terms of the striking. So we may even see her be the pursuer in this fight, but that doesn't necessarily work against her. Now, Zurina is capable of mounting an offense inside the clinch as well, throwing some good knees, some inside boxing. There is a question mark as to how well that would work against a high-level wrestler like Jaeleen Robledo. And you could argue that it is a step up in competition for both fighters here. I don't know that, as a pro anyway, Zurina has faced a wrestler the caliber of Jaeleen. Similarly, I don't know if Jaeleen has faced a striker the caliber of Zurina Turrey. Zurina Turrey, not known for her ground game, I don't think this is the fight to try to change that perception. So I know I'm hyped for this fight. You have Zurina's height, reach, that powerful striking style versus Jaeleen Robledo's power. And by the way, Jaeleen has fought as high as welterweight, so she has shown that she can fight those bigger fighters and deal with their power at those higher weight classes. Not to mention, this is going to be a 5-round title fight, which is a first for Arizona MMA. So both fighters will have ample time and ample opportunity in this fight to work whatever game plans they've been working on in their respective camps. If you want to catch these fights in person, you can head on over to our calendar, ringsandcagesaz.com. We'll have a link for you to purchase tickets there. This event will be held at Celebrity Theater in Phoenix. Doors open at 5, fights start at 7. So come on down to Celebrity, we'll see you there. So Fight Fam, last week we asked, what fight made you a fan of MMA? We do have a fair amount of old school MMA fans here, as Royce Gracie came up a lot, especially the UFC 1 events. We also had responses for the Griffin vs. Bonner Ultimate Finale fight. No surprise there. That is the fight credited with saving the UFC. Me personally, I love to see a contrast of styles, so I had seen MMA before this fight, but the Machida vs. Shogun Rua fight, the first one in particular, that's what really hooked me. That's when I got to see this movement-based karate style from Lyoto Machida that I had not seen in a live fight scenario, versus this brutal Muay Thai straightforward style that Shogun Rua had that I also had not seen much of in a live fight scenario, right? These were styles that I'd only ever seen in movies, and they were poorly done in movies, by the way. So for me, who grew up watching boxing and loved to see that boxer versus brawler style, particularly when the brawler would win, this was the first time I'd seen anything like that in MMA, and that's really what got me hooked. And I will always love watching that fight. Doesn't matter how many times I see it. So Fight Fam, what I want to know now is, what was your favorite martial arts movie growing up, and would you still choose that movie today? Send your responses to ringsandcagesaz@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media, Rings and Cages AZ. And of course, don't forget to check out our calendar for all the upcoming fights in Arizona, ringsandcagesaz.com. So until next time, this is Chuy reminding you to leave the fighting inside the rings and cages.